Happy Tuesday, ProLife family. Welcome to the ProLife Podcast. Did Chrissy Teigen have an abortion or a miscarriage? Terminology is weird. We need to discuss this. Let's get started. Happy Tuesday, ProLife family. I got my coffee. We have a lot of things to discuss. The world is weird, you guys. But first, our friends around the table. Kim Schwartz, Media Communications Director. Veronica Arnold-Smither, Education Associate. Awesome ProLife mom. And for the fourth time,
we are expecting baby number 4.
Congratulations.
Very exciting.
It's awesome.
Yes.
We're happy for you. And you now win the most kids in one household.
Yeah, employed by Text Right to Life. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess because at some point, a lot of people, they start having a lot of kids and then they retire. But I'm still here.
Right? Like the most, I think we're all kind of like capped out at 3. And so you're the first one to 4. Good job.
Oh, well, it's not a race, but you know.
But if it were, you win.
The Lord said be fruitful and multiply. So apparently you're more godly than the rest of us.
Oh, gosh.
So there's that.
You're Brent
Hi,
Klingerman.
Brent Klingerman, IT Director, nerd. And yeah, let's move on because this is starting to get a little awkward.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so the left has no credibility anymore. They'll just say things and change terms to fit a narrative.
Yeah.
So Chrissy Teigen, who had a miscarriage a while ago,
Yeah, 2020, I believe.
is now changing all of that to say she had an abortion a while ago and how tragic that she wouldn't have access to this or other women wouldn't have access to this anymore. But it was a miscarriage.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So I've been reading up on this story a lot, and I talked to a friend this past weekend who is an OB-GYN to kind of verify how things work. And it's really crazy. So Chrissy Teigen, she gets in trouble for saying a lot of weird things, but
She says a lot of weird things.
she's not exactly popular for the right reasons sometimes. But when it came to, she suffered a really tragic miscarriage in 2020, and I didn't really know anything about her at the time, but I was following her story, and I remember thinking, I'm so proud of her for portraying to the world the dignity of her son, baby Jack. They named him really early, and early on in the pregnancy, they realized she was having a lot of complications, and she had what's called a partial placental abruption, and that means the placenta was detaching itself from the uterine wall, which is extremely dangerous for mama and baby. And so she was hospitalized, and they were trying to save the baby, and they were doing everything they could. They were doing all the right things, and she was chronologing her story on social media. And eventually they realized they couldn't do anything else. And the baby was not going to survive. And so she says the doctor said it's time to say goodbye. And so they induced labor. And that's the right thing to do. That the baby would not have lived. If they had not induced labor, it would have been a long, slow, drawn out miscarriage, which is dangerous, painful. And so they did the right thing. They induced labor. And medically speaking, you can say that this is an abortion. This is an elective abortion, a termination of pregnancy. That's just a very medical way of describing this, though. It does not indicate really any of the real experience of what's happening. So it's like the vocabulary isn't distinct enough to describe what's going on. So medically speaking, there are 2 types of abortions. There's spontaneous abortion, which is when you have a completely natural miscarriage, and it's just as tragic. And then there's elective abortions, which can mean so many things. And usually we think of the horrible, inhumane abortions, like dismemberment and saline abortions and injecting the baby's heartbeat with poison to stop the baby. And then there's so many different types of abortions. A lot of them involve a vacuum suction machine with a little knife on the end. Like, it's gruesome, horrible stuff. But medically speaking, you can also have an elective abortion that simply means inducing labor early to save the life of the child and the life of the mother. And that's exactly what happened in her case. They did everything they could to save the baby and to prevent her from suffering health issues too. Because, I mean, she could have bled out. I mean, it's really dangerous. So, technically speaking, you could accurately say that she had an elective abortion, but no one really talks like that. Like, that's not, even the doctors don't talk like that. They say we induced labor.
Right.
And that happened to me. I had 2 preemie babies, and we terminated the pregnancy, which sounds so weird out loud, but I mean, that's accurate. We induced labor early because each pregnancy had different issues. One of them had extremely low fluid, and I'd been hospitalized for quite some time to try to bring the fluids up, and it was not working. For like a week, it would not work, and they were like, time to get that baby out. And then the other one, I had a subchorionic hemorrhage, and that was causing the baby to come super early. And, but it was like a slow, drawn out labor. And so they were like, we need to speed this up. So we're going to induce labor now. And they are both fine. They're both great. But so medically speaking, you could say those are elective abortions. We terminated the pregnancy. But we did all the right things. The babies are fine. The moms are fine. Me and Chrissy Teigen.
Yeah.
And Chrissy Teigen. Sounds weird out loud.
That's weird.
So it's crazy to me. I was so proud of her at the time.
Yeah.
And she really showed the dignity of her son, baby Jack. And there are these beautiful pictures of her in the hospital cradling her dead son, which is so noble to grieve and mourn in public. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, so many people are scared to do that. Yeah. Now, this is a long soapbox. Feel free to interrupt me, but I can keep going. Good. Like, I have a weird passion about grieving the dead in public, in community, because I think so many people are so afraid to do that. They have a hard time saying goodbye, and they hate funerals, they hate graveyards, and I actually kind of have a weirdly opposite passion. I'm like, your grandmother's passed away, I'm going to go with you to your funeral. And a lot of people are like, that's weird, you never even knew my grandmother. I'm like, well, I'm here for you too. Like, I've gone to a lot of friends' grandmother's funerals or grandfather's funerals because no one else would. And I felt called to do it. And then we go to the cemetery every year and lay flowers. And those things are so important. I think they're kind of lost in our culture. And so when Chrissy Teigen mourned the death of her son, baby Jack, in public, on the internet, beautiful pictures. I was like, how noble. Like, I was so proud of her. And now, 2 or 3 years later, she's changing her story. She's saying, she did an interview the other day and said, let's call it what it is. It was an abortion. And she's using this as a political stunt to promote abortion. And now I'm like, what? You did such a great job honoring your son, and now you're dishonoring him by comparing his death to an elective dismemberment abortion? Like those abortions for convenience where they literally cut the baby up limb by limb, crush its skull, and suck out its brains with a vacuum. That is how an abortion works. If you don't believe me, ask any physician and Google it. Like that is how it works.
Right. And if you support abortion,
or maybe don't Google it.
Don't Google it with the kids around.
If you support abortion, you should have no problem with those descriptions either, because that is what happens. And so if you're shying away from like, oh, well, it just sounds gruesome that, you're sucking the baby out or you're dismembering them and tearing off the limbs, that is what happens. So if that's what you're supporting, you better own it.
Yeah, it's true. And a lot of physicians are actually kind of saying the same thing now. A lot of pro-choice physicians are saying, we need to stop describing this as inhumane and gross or whatever. It's just real life. And they're like, just embrace, and just embrace the fact that it's bloody and gross. Like, that's how it works.
This ain't Animal Planet. This ain't Serengeti. What the heck?
No. Yeah. We need to allow those things to trigger us and be like, this isn't humane. Like, we need to allow our emotional response to tell us something's wrong. Right. And so if we're stuffing that emotional response down and saying like, oh, this is just how it works, like, it's fine. Like, what? Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, poor baby Jack. Like, he is, his death, which was done so well and beautifully and honorably, is being compared to a dismemberment abortion. And she's saying they're the same thing. I don't know. Like, I'm really shocked that she would use this as a political stunt. She's talking about her own beautiful child. And,
but are we, though? I mean, these days, that's how we do things.
Yeah. Pray for Chrissy Teigen?
Yes.
Definitely. that's how we like to politicize things for whatever agenda, kind of so we can get in the news and so we can, maybe feel like she can add some meaning to her child's death or something. But this is the wrong meaning to add.
This just shows how deep the media narrative has gone over the last couple months. Since Roe v. Wade was overturned in June, the media has just been spouting off rapid fire, saying that abortion and miscarriage treatment are the same thing, no difference at all. And we've harped on this so much that is an injustice to the unborn children and an injustice to women who have had miscarriages, because you have both effects here. You have women who are having miscarriages right now, and because the media is saying like, well, now that abortion is banned, you can't get treatment for miscarriage, which is not true at all. That is on the media. Our laws do not say that in any way, but they're making people believe that. Now, the other side of this here too is miscarriages that have happened in the past, like with Chrissy Teigen, and she's made her story kind of on a bigger platform. And again, like those photos, I encourage everybody to go look those up. From whenever Chrissy Teigen was in the hospital and just grieving the loss of her child. It is heartbreaking
and beautiful
at the same time. And we've talked on this podcast a million times how those can coexist, and that's just part of life. So the other part of it is women who have had miscarriages in the past, and now they're hearing this narrative from the media saying like, well, abortion and miscarriages are the same thing because spontaneous abortion and abortion, they both have the word abortion. They must be the same. Yeah. And we're just swimming in the shallow end of the philosophy pool.
Yeah.
And so, but
language is weird.
That's just not the case. But they have to say that. The media has to say that because they can't defend abortion itself. They have to confuse, they have to blur the lines, because if they talked about abortion itself, they would lose. Yeah. So everything that is not an abortion to the media is an abortion, and abortion itself is not an abortion. That's just terminating a pregnancy or removing the products of conception. Like all of these crazy labels they try to put on things are not accurate.
Yeah, but just trying to get more votes. If they can convince someone that an abortion and miscarriage treatment and ectopic pregnancy treatment are all the same, and that abortion is banned in Texas, and so it's women are going to die because they can't seek treatment, then that is fear-mongering, and it's a really great tactic to get more votes to bring abortion back. Yeah. And it's really terrifying. I was actually talking to a friend this past weekend who's an OB-GYN, and I have a lot of friends who are OB-GYNs, actually, and she doesn't want to be named because they're under such attack from ABOG right now, which is so frustrating. Yeah. But she was saying basically the same thing, and she brought it up to me. I actually didn't even bring it up. She said she's had multiple patients over the last few months asked her if I were to discover, that I have an ectopic pregnancy, would I get in trouble?
Oh my
God. Would you, the doctor, get in trouble for treating me? And keeps having to convince or explain to them, that's not how this works. The media has been lying to you. Here's how the law actually works. It's always going to protect women who have a life-threatening situation. And by the way, miscarriage treatment and ectopic pregnancy are not the same as an abortion. They use completely different processes and medicines, and you're not going to get in trouble. And here's the weirdest part to me. She also brought up that her partners in her office, they used to do OB-GYN care. Now they only do gen care. They don't do OB anymore. They've kind of retiring from that. They were quipping about how they need to be careful so that they don't get in trouble in case any of their patients come in with these issues, and so that they can avoid lawsuits. And the doctor my friend was having to explain to them, no, you don't have to worry. This is what the law says. It's extremely clear. And you're doing the right thing. You're not going to get in trouble. And they were like, okay, whatever, and just kind of moved on. And it's nuts. I feel like this is part of the culture war that the left is winning right now. And that is very frustrating. We've been doing everything we can. I know a ton of really great pro-life orgs that have been posting awesome videos and memes and explanations all over the internet to explain things, and various doctors like Dr. Ingrid Skop. She's awesome. She's a Texas-based OB-GYN as well. She's had her neck on the line for decades, so I can say her name out loud and she's not gonna, she's not gonna get canceled.
Right.
She's canceled proofed herself.
Yes.
She is doing awesome work explaining the reality of how to take care of an ectopic pregnancy and a miscarriage and how they're not the same thing as an abortion. And it's just shocking to me that the media is still winning, I think, right now on this. And I'm like, when are we gonna tip that cup and start winning this back? Because people are scared to go to the doctor.
I think time is on pro-lifers' side with this, though, because within the last few months since Roe was overturned, all you hear is this doomsday narrative that women are going to die, they're not going to be able to treat miscarriages, and that's going to put their health in jeopardy. And for ectopic pregnancies, when the baby definitely won't survive, and now the woman's not going to survive either, all of these doomsday narratives are going to fizzle out because they're not true. And so the more time passes, we saw this with the Texas Heartbeat Act. That was one of the biggest benefits, I think, over the last year with the Texas Heartbeat Act, was that we could see all of those doomsday narratives play out at the beginning of September 2021. And now it's a year later, and guess what? That stuff hasn't happened. And so the further we go, the more people will see that was not true.
Yeah. That's hopeful. That's good. Because when I heard this OB-GYN say her patients are worried that they would get in trouble, I was like, I can't believe this is working. The left's argument is working right now. It's scaring women. That's terrible. They should be ashamed of themselves.
It is some of the biggest journalistic malpractice that we've ever seen with that, and just not caring about the results. Not caring at all.
It's just propaganda being used to the American people.
Yes.
It's awful.
And so they're hoping that will play in their favor in the election, especially going into 2022 with the midterms. Within the last couple months, there have been some special elections that Democrats look at where Republicans should have won them, but Democrats ended up winning. And so the left and the media right now are looking at those saying look, the red wave that was going to happen in November is actually going to be a blue wave, and Democrats have a chance at, winning big this November. And those feelings are overstated, namely because, the vote in Kansas, for example, and a couple other special elections within the last couple months are pretty fresh off of the Dobbs decision. And all of those during all of those elections, this media narrative about how miscarriage treatment, everything that is not an abortion, is going to be banned. But abortion itself, we don't want to talk about that. So this is going to, as we get closer and closer to the midterms, this is going to unfold itself, and people will see that this doomsday narrative is not true. And that whenever Republicans actually put a pro-life message at the forefront, if they make the affirmative case for the unborn, life is a winning issue. And we have a lot of work on the culture to make sure that we solidify those gains. We have to do the culture work first before we do the legislative and the political work. But we can talk more about that and how that leads into the 2024 election here in a second, because we are super running out of time.
We're kind of running short on time, but speaking of work on the culture, we have some events coming up to work on the culture.
Yes.
So we'll tell you about those now. Come to our annual Celebration of Life galas in Houston or Dallas to celebrate the end of Roe v. Wade. Join us in Houston Saturday, October 29th, and we are so excited to announce former White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany will be giving an amazing keynote speech. Or come to Dallas on Saturday, October 8th to hear the Benham brothers, whose TV show was canceled because of their Christian beliefs. Our battle has only just begun now that Roe has been overturned, and the pro-life movement needs you in this critical era. Tickets are moving fast, so grab yours in the link below, and I hope to see you there.
Save the date for Boots on the Ground. It's an awesome pro-life conference coming up January 28th and 29th. Come to Austin, Texas with us to march to the Capitol, to celebrate the end of Roe v. Wade, to commemorate Roe v. Wade, and to learn from expert pro-life speakers on how to keep Texas pro-life forever. Come to Austin with us and hear from Ryan Baumberger, our keynote speaker who shares his personal story, and so much more. Book your tickets today, bootsonthegroundtx.com. See you in January.
Welcome back, friends. So those Benham brothers, I'm excited to see them here in a few days. They're pretty cool guys. Had breakfast with them last time they were here at our event. And was it David was arrested outside of a clinic trying to do the sidewalk counseling thing.
Just standing there, just praying. And the state was like, nope, better not do that. We're going to arrest you.
I'm excited to see those guys. So you can grab your tickets at the links below. So you were saying culture work and something to do with Biden.
Right. So going into the November midterm elections, Democrats hope that the issue of abortion is going to just crush the red wave, that they will not be able that Republicans won't be able to win in this cycle, that Democrats will kind of level the playing field by using the abortion issue. I think that as time goes on, that becomes less and less true. In the immediate aftermath, you had a lot of people really on fire about abortion, a lot of people upset that the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, because we've talked about this 1,000 times. People don't know what Roe v. Wade did. It is shocking to me every single time that you'll have in the same poll 2 different questions. The first is, do you support Roe v. Wade? And most people will say yes, like the historical number has been 7 out of 10 people support Roe v. Wade. But then you ask the same question in the same poll, same people, and you'll ask them, do you support abortion on demand up till the moment of birth? And they'll say, no, absolutely not. That's what Roe v. Wade does. Like people do not understand that how far Roe v. Wade went, how much of it.
Doe v. Bolton.
Yes.
Roe v. Wade and Doe v. Bolton.
Yes, okay.
My nerd is
right. They were companion cases. Thank you. So Roe v. Wade and Doe v. Bolton just issued this huge, unprecedented idea of abortion in the United States that really is even further than other developed countries. Like we're even more liberal than Europe and any other developed nation on abortion.
The Netherlands, for example. They were in the news recently. We'll talk about them maybe another time.
Up until Roe was overturned, like there was very few countries as extreme as the United States on abortion. Yeah. And so as we go forward and people see how those doomsday narratives are not true, this becomes less of a threat to them, and seeing that, abortion bans are going to cause harm. But as we go forward, people will see also that pro-life laws make a positive impact on our culture. There are people who would have been aborted who are now alive, and that is a good thing. And so how does this play into the 2024 election with our favorite president, Joe Biden? Joe Biden, as
I can't believe you actually got that out with a straight face.
I did.
Good job.
Joe Biden is such a disaster on every possible front that I think even he is realizing that his political days may be numbered, because Sunday night on 60 Minutes, the interviewer asked him, are you going to run in 2024? And he said, I've said that I intend to run, but it's just an intention. So he's really walking back his commitment to run in 2024.
Inhale.
Yeah.
I intend to go to the grocery store later, but maybe traffic and I won't. I don't know.
On the couch.
Yeah. Which, like, grocery store and running for president by the sitting president, very different things. And so I don't blame him. I understand the train wreck that Democrats are in right now, with Joe Biden, who is extremely unpopular, underwater with his approval ratings. And then you ask, well, who can fill his shoes?
That is a good question. Who else would they put in that spot?
Not Kamala Harris.
Nobody likes Kamala either.
Yeah.
Right.
Hillary said she's not going to run again.
And the whole world rejoiced when she confirmed.
This is true.
She said she's never running for president again, so we're good. We're in the clear. We've done something right somehow.
So what bullet are we not getting to dodge then?
It looks like Gavin Newsom is the one who's trying to like force his way in here. Like about a month ago, he took a trip to the White House and Joe Biden wasn't there, and he was just kind of like playing house in the White House, like pretending.
So
yeah. And then you also see the other kind of telltale sign here is that Gavin Newsom is running ads in other states. And if he didn't have bigger ambitions, there would be no reason
You mean all those other states he ran all the Californians to?
Yes. Whenever he's running ads in Florida,
wonderful policies,
begging people to come back to California.
But specifically to come back for abortions. That's the creepiest thing. Maybe he's going to start doing ads for other political ambitions soon, but right now the ads are specific about abortion. They're saying like, come to California, you won't be discriminated against, and then the ads they say something like, Ohio doesn't take care of you, or Idaho, hurts women, and they have this picture of a woman in handcuffs, and you can come get a safe abortion here in California. I'm like, what a creepy ad.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
So he's already been U-Haul's like employee of the month.
Yeah, basically. He should
sales
be for
rep of the
driving
month for
people
driving
out.
everybody out of
Right.
California. So now he's trying to be like Planned Parenthood's employee of the month.
Yeah,
Is that what's going on there?
He's running, if this really is the start of his presidential ambitions, he's running squarely on abortion because his big focus on ads out of California have been about abortion. There was one in Florida over the 4th of July weekend saying, you're not free in Florida. Come to California where you are free to have an abortion.
Gross.
And then same kind of timeline running a newspaper ad in Texas saying that, we can't trust Republican governors to take care of the population, especially on the issue of abortion. You got to have an abortion, don't you know? And then now he's running even more ads in other states saying, if you need an abortion, come to California. Here's this website that we set up for women's health.
Yeah.
But
so this is the craziest part. They've been touting for the last few months preparation for this new government website based on resources for women all over California, reproductive resources. So it was supposed to include all kinds of pregnancy help and places to go get really good care. But the website's posted now. It is literally only about abortion. And so women are really mad. They're like, where's the list of help that you promised us for, pregnancy resources and STD testing and prenatal
but abortions,
care.
you guys. But here's abortions.
It's literally it. And I think the website address is literally abortion.ca.gov.
Yep.
It's like, whoa. They're not even calling it like women's healthcare.ca.gov.
Rights.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
It's like, there's a nice tail flip for you.
That definitely seems like the mansplaining way of going about that. Of like, what do women need? Probably an abortion. It's like, no, I need all these other things. No, I'm pretty sure it's just the one thing that you need.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Not electricity in
No.
California or anything
all
like that.
Governors aren't protecting you in your state, but it's a
Right.
big talk for a guy whose crime rate is ridiculous and can't keep the lights on.
Yep. So Gavin Newsom is something else. My other just shocking thing with this Billboard campaign is that he's using scripture to promote abortion in other states and says that abortion is loving your neighbor. Yeah. So that is, you just gotta love.
One of the billboards says, love your neighbor as yourself. And then it says something like, come to California for an abortion.
No.
Wow.
It's
I missed that one.
disgusting.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yep. He's a disaster.
And he kind of wants to be president.
Yes, which that's just where we are now. So if the Democrats want to dig their own grave on the abortion issue, if they want to put themselves so far into the extreme, American people are going to see that now. And the Democrats try to think like, oh, well, abortion is our winning issue. It's because the media has not forced them to defend their position on abortion. the more and more we just point at their extreme position, the more people will see that they are out of touch, that there is an affirmative case for the unborn, and we just have to keep chugging away at that.
Yeah.
Right. So that's for Gavin Newsom's crimes against humanity.
For more crimes against humanity, we also wanted to talk about Cards Against Humanity. Is you guys familiar with this?
Nice transition, y'all.
That's what we're here for.
That's why we have planning meetings.
Yes. So Cards Against Humanity.
Cards Against Humanity. You guys familiar with the game?
Oh, yeah.
For those of you
It's
at
pretty
home.
awful.
It's pretty rough. I'll see it at like, one of those. I go to game shops, where you can go sit and play whatever game, or a restaurant that has, you get your
Board
snow
games.
cones and there's the board games or whatever,
I remember playing in college and being grossed out.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, Cards Against Humanity, like, we'll play. And I forget.
Yes.
And I start looking at these cards and go, this is not something I can play with the people I'm with.
Yep.
Or really anybody
Right.
in good conscience. I'm really thankful I never bought the darn thing.
Yep.
Because now, if you go to their website and you live in a forced birth Republican hellhole state,
As what they say.
then they're going to donate 100% of the profits to some abortion fund, the National Network of something or other. It's the article is on our website.
National Network of Killing Babies.
Basically, the article's on our website with all the exact details. But I was looking at this, and it's basically you have to donate to abortion causes to buy their product.
Yes.
Yikes.
And then if you click on I don't want to donate to, I disagree with this, I don't want to donate, then what do?
They tell you, well, it really sucks to have your values, overruled by an authoritarian party kind of stuff. And I was like, whoa, so you're just gonna be like that.
And
Okay.
do they not accept your money?
No, then they add more money to your cart. So here I am, not me literally, but here I am on the Cards Against Humanity website. I put in that my address is Texas, and they say, oh, you live in the Republican hellhole with forced birth. We're going to donate all of the proceeds from your order to the National Network of Abortion Funds. And then there's a button that says, like, I disagree with this. I don't want to have my proceeds from my order go to abortion funds. And then they say, oh, well, it really sucks whenever a bigger party tries to violate your will, doesn't it?
Yep.
So we're going to add $5 more to your cart. We're going to add a bigger charge to your cart to donate to the abortion fund. So they're putting more charges against your will onto your order because, and this is partly religious discrimination because they do cite religion in their reason for adding more funds to your cart there.
Yeah, here we go. It's, sometimes people have values imposed on them by bigger, more powerful entities, and they're forced to do things they don't want to do, like carry an unwanted pregnancy. For example, we just added an extra $5 donation to the National Network of Abortion Funds to your cart.
Yikes.
So if you say you disagree with it, they want to charge you $5 more.
Yep.
So I guess I wonder how many customers they're losing because of this, or people are just biting the bullet and saying, well, I still want the card.
I would hope their cart abandonment rate
right,
is
I'm just
going
like, delete
way through the
X
roof.
out of that.
I would be terminating my transactions.
But the bigger question, too, is who is still buying Cards Against Humanity?
It's true.
Because
it's a really old game.
Yeah, I was looking at some of the comments.
They do update it every few years, though.
Yeah.
So people always want the newest, latest version with the more offensive cards.
Yes.
And if you don't know, the point of the game is like you get a sentence and people have like fill in the blank stuff, and the goal is to produce the most offensive sentence possible.
Yes.
Right.
So, yeah, it really is. Whenever it was first made, like, over about 10 years ago now, it was like
Maybe
shocking.
longer, yeah.
Oh, way longer than that.
It's been longer than that.
They
but
had
yes.
the shock value because it was edgy then. But now, like, it just kind of lost all its shock value, partly because the culture has taken such a nosedive and we're
very desensitized to
yes.
It's true.
the macabre.
And partly because Cards Against Humanity has been censoring themselves too, which is just really
That's so
surprising.
ironic.
Yes, for the game designed to offend people over the last couple years, they've been taking out some cards so they don't offend people.
Microaggressions. And
Right,
such.
right.
Yes.
So their wokeness is getting in the way of themselves.
That's so funny. That's been such a common trend in any form of comedy. And like,
yes.
I'm not anti-dark humor or anything. Sometimes it's pretty funny, but I don't want to make jokes though that condone or encourage abortion, and
Yeah.
Right.
Cards Against Humanity does that, and
Yes.
they have multiple jokes directly about abortion, like coat hangers
Yeah.
and other really creepy stuff. And
But do we think this is a move we're going to see amongst more like online stores where they're just going to say, oh, hey, we're going to do this with your
Question.
money. We're just going to go ahead and throw it out there. We're going to do this with your money. Because a lot of businesses support abortion-related causes with our money after the fact. They're just not real public about it.
right.
Some of them are becoming more public. This is probably the most public we've seen anybody be
Yeah.
about what they're doing with the proceeds of our money. Do we think that maybe this is going to lead to more or less of this? Like, some people are going to go, whoa, okay, they went too far. Like, this is probably hurting their business, and it should.
Yeah.
Or do we think, oh, that was a good idea. I'm going to do that too.
I
Like-
don't know. They might say it's a good idea. I'm going to do that too. Because, I mean, so many companies, I mean, the really big names like Starbucks and
Amazon, Walmart.
Target. Yeah. Walmart just recently gave
Yeah.
in. I was so bummed. But so many of these really big corporations have been donating to places like Planned Parenthood for decades. And they never hit it. It was just not maybe like super common knowledge.
They're not going to put it on your receipt.
Right, exactly. But Cards Against Humanity is putting it on your receipt.
Not even on the receipt. Like the step before the receipt. Like before you get the money, we're going to go ahead and tell you.
That's
and like,
really-
well, okay,
Really crazy.
never mind then.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there are good, better alternatives to
Yeah.
these companies.
Yeah.
If you're into boycotting,
Right.
there are better places to
For
do
sure.
business.
For sure.
We have an article about that on our website.
Yeah,
About
exactly.
different companies that provide a good alternative to these places that you might really want good coffee. There's actually a bunch of different pro-life coffee companies, which is
Yeah.
really cool. Because God knows we need it.
Yeah, for sure.
It
The
keeps
coffee
me going,
specifically.
especially those of us with lots of children. Ooh, boy. Well, friends, that's all the Cards and Crimes Against Humanity I think we want to talk about for one day. If you are new to our podcast, welcome. Thank you. We appreciate you joining us. If you caught the Jenny Hammond video last week, if you missed it, go watch it. It was really
That
good.
was so crazy.
But if you're new, welcome. Hey, visit our website. There's a little push notification thing so you can know when new articles come out. So you can get those notifications. Go ahead and do that. Like, subscribe, share with your friends and family. Leave us a comment below in the YouTubes or Facebook. I know, I'm turning into an old
5-star
guy.
review.
5-star reviews.
Right.
So, share this video with your friends. Change some hearts and minds. Save some lives. Change the culture. Change the world. We will see you guys next week.